Well, well, well. South Africa's latest theater of incompetence. So Ramaphosa finally woke up. After years of watching South Africa's economy circle the drain like a dying goldfish, our illustrious leader has decided to hit the panic button. An economic state of emergency, he said. How brave, how visionary, how absolutely amazingly late. Let's get this straight. This man watched unemployment hit 33%. He saw the blackouts become a lifestyle, while state capture hollowed out every financial institution and the rand became cheaper than toilet paper, and skilled professionals were fleeing the country faster than rats from a sinking ship. This man saw the problem now, before we did. Give me a break. This is like the captain declaring an emergency after the Titanic has already hit the iceberg, taken on the water, resting on the ocean floor. Attention passengers, we may have a slight problem with our buoyancy. No kidding, genius. We've been drowning for years while you were rearranging deck chairs and telling us everything was under control. The prophetic vision of blindness is crazy. You think Ramaphosa saw the problems early, when Eskom was being systematically destroyed through corruption and mismanagement? Where was this emergency thinking? When the Gupta family was literally running the cabinet meetings, where was the emergency or the urgency? When municipalities stopped providing basic services and infrastructure crumbled, where was the crisis response? The answer is simple: nowhere. Because declaring an emergency now is not about solving problems. It's about political optics. It's about looking like you're doing something when you've done absolutely nothing for years. It's the governmental equivalent of a student who ignored their assignments all semester, suddenly acting busy the night before the final exam. There's no use, kid. South Africans didn't need a state of emergency to tell them the economy was collapsing. Small business owners knew when they couldn't keep their doors open, genius. Families knew they couldn't afford groceries. Young people knew when they couldn't find jobs, trust me. The middle class knew when they started planning exit strategies. We all saw it, we all lived it, we screamed about it. But sure, Ramaphosa saw it first, from his luxury residence while traveling in business class, while the rest of us were here rationing electricity and watching our savings evaporate like water from a pot. Here's what really grinds my gears though: the audacity of positioning himself as the solution to problems he helped create. This isn't leadership, it's arson, followed by a photo op with a fire extinguisher. You don't get credit for finally acknowledging a house is burning when you were smoking in bed for the past decade. Economic states of emergency are supposed to be for unexpected catastrophes, natural disasters, sudden external shocks, unforeseen circumstances beyond anyone's control. South Africa's economic crisis is none of those things. It's the predictable, inevitable result of policy choices, corruption, cadre deployment, and administrative incompetence spanning decades. Every single economist worth their salt has been ringing alarm bells for years. Business organizations have been presenting detailed proposals. International agencies have been issuing warnings. The World Bank, IMF, rating agencies, everyone has been waving red flags so large they could be seen from space. But no, apparently Ramaphosa had some special insight the rest of us lacked. What insight? The insight that eventually you cannot ignore reality anymore when it's literally knocking down your door. The emergency that wasn't. That's what this is. Because let's talk about what this emergency really means. What concrete actions come with it? What structural reforms? What actual solutions? Or is this just another opportunity to centralize power, bypass normal procedures, and implement the same failed policies with a fresh coat of urgent sounding paint? Because here's the thing about South African governance: it's brilliant at declarations and terrible at implementation. We are world champions at launching initiatives, creating committees, hosting summits, making promises, eating KFC. We are significantly less impressive at actually fixing anything. An economic state of emergency without fundamental reform is just theater. And South Africans are tired of the show. We want results. We want electricity that works. We want jobs. We want functional municipalities. We want police who solve crimes. We want borders that are controlled. We want schools that educate. We want hospitals that heal. We want our tax money to build things instead of disappearing into all the connected pockets we know. Here's what nobody in government wants to admit, so I will. South Africa's problems are not mysterious. They are not complicated. They are the natural consequences of putting party loyalty over competence, ideology over pragmatism, and political connections over merit. You want to fix the economy? Then stop appointing cadres who can't do basic mathematics to run financial institutions. Stop interfering with businesses trying to generate electricity because it threatens the monopoly of your failing state enterprise. Stop implementing policies that make it nearly impossible to hire people and then wondering why unemployment is astronomical. Stop the corruption that makes every government contract twice as expensive and half as effective. The solutions aren't rocket science. Countries around the world have demonstrated what works. Rule of law, property rights, stable electricity, good infrastructure, quality education, efficient bureaucracy, and in an environment where business can actually do business without drowning in red tape and bribes. But implementing these solutions requires admitting that the current system is fundamentally broken. It requires removing incompetent people from positions of power. It requires putting the country above the party. And based on decades of evidence, that's apparently asking for too much from the ANC. The true emergency isn't the economy. It's the leadership vacuum. It's the disconnect between those governing and those being governed. It's the fantasy world where politicians think declarations matter more than actions, where announcements substitute for achievements, where spin replaces substance. The emergency is that millions of young South Africans have no hope. The emergency is that skills and capital are flooding out of the country. The emergency is that the social contract between the government and citizens has been shredded. The emergency is that trust in institutions has collapsed. And declaring an economic state of emergency now, after all this time, doesn't fix any of it. It just highlights how little people in charge understand about the depth of crisis they have created. So no, Ramaphosa is not a savior. He's not even a competent manager. He's a politician doing what politicians do, making gestures when action is required, declaring emergencies when prevention was needed, and positioning himself as the solution to the problems he helped create. The real heroes are the South Africans who kept businesses running during blackouts, who created jobs despite hostile policies, who educated their children despite failing schools, who maintained their dignity despite corruption, who kept believing in a better future despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. They saw the problems, they've been dealing with the consequences, and they are still here, still working, still building, not because of government leadership, but despite it. An economic state of emergency is not vision. It's admission of failure dressed up as action. It's too little too late from people who should have done better years ago. So here's my question to you. What do you think? Is this emergency declaration a genuine attempt to save the country, or just another chapter in South Africa's long-running political theater? Are we finally going to see real change, or just new excuses? And most importantly, how much longer are we supposed to pretend that declarations matter more than results? Tell me what you think. Drop your thoughts below. Let's hear what the people who actually live with the consequences think about our visionary leadership. And comment the or put a black heart emoji if you agree with what I've said in this video. This is the Summer Sambit, and like always, stay safe, stay alert, and I'll see you next time.